Yes. So it's
Okay.
RJ Santana and Mrs. Chrissy.
Yes. Hello. How are
Yes,
you?
yes, yes. I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
It's a Sunday. It's warm. I thought it would be colder today, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
It's
okay.
beautiful today.
It's
It's better
Florida.
than New York, I'll tell you that.
Right, right. You down here throwing out.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, cool. So, you're in real estate,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and from my understanding, you're on the commercial side of things.
I'm actually on residential side, but I'm
Okay.
here in Orlando to learn about commercial. We're doing a commercial conference. So
Okay.
yeah, so I'm here.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I gotta ask some preliminary questions to get us up to speed because I
Yeah.
don't know. How did you
Yeah.
get into real estate?
Well, I actually started in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, March. It was actually March 12th, 2020, where we bought our first house.
A
It was,
pandemic?
yeah, exactly. It just so happens to be my dad's birthday, but also like the same day everything shut down.
Okay.
So it was like a really interesting time, especially like no one knew what was happening with real estate. And it was our first house that we bought where we were intending to flip it, which we did.
Mm.
But that was like the first time that we started. And like my boyfriend actually introduced me to real estate. He's like, oh,
Mm.
let's start this real estate thing. I'm like, okay. We never really had that analysis paralysis stage. I'm like,
Okay.
all right, I got my license. We just bought this house. So let's
Okay.
figure it out.
Okay.
So we definitely learned a lot by just like trial and error and doing it. And the pandemic definitely taught us like quickly up and down the market, how it could be. So it was an interesting time to get in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you started your real estate journey
Mm-hmm.
at a time in American history where things were very uncertain.
Super. It
Wow.
was really, really uncertain. Especially like, yeah, you don't know like, okay, am I gonna get a tenant? There was the memorandums going on in New York, right, where a tenant will get in and you can't even evict them. So that was also
Mm.
another scary part was okay, we'll get our first tenant and we don't know if they're even gonna pay or leave.
Mm.
So that was also a super scary part, getting our first tenant in. And I mean, it went well. We ended up having a tenant for a year. They wanted to buy a house. So we ended that early and then ended up selling it a year and a day later so we can kind of pay long-term capital gains instead of short-term capital gains on the flip. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
most people do not know what capital gains is.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
but most people don't.
Right.
Can you explain capital gains to a fourth grader?
To a fourth grader. Okay, let's see. So, imagine you are selling Skittles
Okay.
at the cafeteria or your lunch break, right? And you buy the box of Skittles for $5 at BJ's,
Okay.
and then now you're going and selling that Skittles for $10. That $5 gap you're gonna pay taxes on, right?
Okay. Okay.
So you have if you saved it for a later time, like I'm gonna hold on to it for another year, right? And you sell it, you're gonna pay less taxes on it a year later than you do if you sell it tomorrow. So
Okay.
that's the shorter version of capital gains tax.
So basically, it's a tax on the profit.
Exactly. That $5 difference
Okay.
is the amount of tax you pay on. Yeah.
Me personally, I like M&Ms. But it's all right.
I mean, actually, I think Skittles are like banned in America now. I don't even know if they're still doing Skittles.
Oh,
They said it.
I gotta
That's a
look
whole
into
other
that.
topic. Yeah, that candy's not really good for you.
Okay. Yeah, look into that. All right.
Yeah.
So okay, so it's essentially a tax.
Yeah.
So you avoided that tax by by
Hmm.
doing what?
By holding it for a year and a day. So you still pay tax on it, right? But you have a different tax rate, right? So I don't know I can't remember the exact number for short-term capital gains, but I want to say it's like maybe 35%,
Okay.
opposed to if you have long-term, it might be like 15, 20. So it's a significant difference if you hold on to it for a year and a day, opposed to
Mm.
like, selling it 2 months later, so.
Right. Okay. So they
Mm.
incentivize you to hold it.
Right, exactly. So you get the benefits from having a tenant in there, right? Collecting rent in the meantime. And then, you sell it, you still get your profit from the flip, but it takes you a little longer.
Okay. Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
So you got catapulted into real estate, but you had a guide.
No, we actually just did it all on our own. Like we really just figured it out. We listened to like a lot of Bigger Pockets podcasts.
Okay.
We listened to like read articles, just like listening every day to learn.
Right.
And then we just figured out by doing, right? We had to like figure it out. Like the first one we did was actually a burr. So we got all of our capital back out by refinancing. But during that time frame, like we were calling all these banks and they're like, oh no, sorry, we only 6 months seasoning or 12 months seasoning. I'm like, oh shoot, all these banks that before COVID had 3 months. Now it's COVID time. They were like, nope, we changed our rule. We changed our interest rate. So we did have like some battles, but a lot of it was from like doing. Like we didn't join a mentorship program. We didn't like have any mentors. We really just like learned by experience.
Just
And like for me, I
execution.
think that's the best thing.
Just execution. You just jumped out there.
Right, exactly. By doing it, that's the best teacher. Honestly, is experience.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now you're using terms
Mhm.
that most investors know,
Yeah.
but the average person does not. Like if the average
Yeah.
person heard Burr,
Oh,
they
right,
they think they
right.
listen to a Gucci Mane
They're like,
song.
"Bird, I need to get in
You know
that."
what I'm
Right, right.
saying?
That is true.
So if you could explain Burr to the commoner, what would you say?
Yes, yes. So Burr is buy rehab,
Yep.
renovate. No,
Yep.
but
I
rehab
know
and
what you mean,
renovate.
but it's kind
I
of
can't even remember what it is anymore because it's
buy,
buy, rehab,
renovate, rent,
refinance, repeat.
refinance, repeat. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
You
I
got
can't
it. You
remember
got it. You
Burrs
got it.
anymore. But yes,
Yes.
Burr was the thing in 2020, right?
Not
Everyone
no
was like,
more.
you gotta do Burr, you gotta do Burr. Now I'm like, is anyone even doing Burr anymore? I don't know because I think now that the interest rates are higher,
Yeah, yeah.
and also a lot of DSCR loans are only giving you 70%,
And you might need more.
65%. So it's like before, if you can get a Burr and refinance at 80%, it was great. But now it's like, does Burrs work? I don't know. You got to get a really good spread for it.
Right. So
Mhm.
personally, me, I never was a fan of the burst strategy, although it
Mhm.
was very successful for most people.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was a little too risky.
Yeah.
You know, like okay, you might do your numbers. You know about this. You might do your
Yeah.
numbers going into the deal.
Yeah.
You have your project estimates and your timeline,
Right. Right.
and then the market could sneeze and you lose 5% in that market.
Yeah.
The numbers are out of whack now.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
but for a lot of people that I know, it has been successful.
Yes.
The last few
Yeah.
years, though, they've been a little shaky.
It's a little shaky, and like you said, there's a lot of like outside factors that kind of control that. Like you said, if it's something else doesn't sell, right now your comps are off,
Yeah.
right, and then you also have the interest rates being higher, which make
Right.
your rents off. You have like a lot of lenders are pushing DSCR loans. They're like, okay, well, I don't have any rental comps, so I'm not going to give you that. Like, there's a
Right.
lot of other factors involved with the burnout seasoning periods that just like I don't know. I mean, unless you get a really good deal, I don't see anybody like really doing them right now.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
I see people trying them,
They're trying,
but
yeah,
they end up
yeah,
holding them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
another thing in Florida, like okay, so a lot of the guys that I know, we all know the best times to buy real estate in Florida, as far as investment,
Mm-hmm.
is during holiday season.
Holiday season.
November, December,
Mm.
January,
Really?
because most people are buying gifts and traveling.
Right, right. They're not thinking about real estate.
Right.
Right.
So that's when if you look at any sort of graph and you look
Mm-hmm.
at the last 5, 10 years or even longer, you'll see that there
Mm-hmm.
are dips during that November period. And they start
Right.
to go on the incline in like February. Refunds
Yeah.
are coming out.
Right. Like I got my refund
Spring break.
check.
Yeah.
Right.
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 So we also know that if you don't sell it by August, you might have to keep it till next spring.
Exactly. Now you're entering the school market where
Yeah.
people are going back to school, they're
Right.
not moving. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's always a tough market.
So yeah, I mean the burst strategy is still out and around.
Right.
But
Right.
it's just
It's
some
still a
of us.
good creative strategy, if the numbers work, right? But are you doing anything creative or
I love creative. That's all I
yeah?
do is creative.
Really? Can you
Yes,
tell me about
yes,
that?
yes. Yes, absolutely. So I specialize in lease options.
Okay.
Common terms, rent to own,
Yeah.
that type of thing, lease to
Mm-hmm.
own. So a lot of people confuse lease options with lease purchases. There is a difference.
Oh, okay. Can you tell us that? Because I think
Sure.
people need to hear that one.
So a lease with the option to purchase is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what it sounds like.
Okay.
I'm leasing and I have the option to purchase it if I want to.
Got it.
If I don't want to, I won't do it.
Right. Just walk away.
A lease purchase is an obligation, meaning I'm leasing and I have to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't, then you can sue me.
Right. At the end of your lease, when that's up, you have to purchase it.
Right.
Okay.
I only like that if I got a seller that is adamant about their price,
Mm-hmm.
that I've kind of negotiated a little bit down,
Right.
just a tad,
Right.
just to make them comfortable, but myself
Yeah.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's strong appreciation based on historical data.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, historical data is not like a clear indication of future,
Yeah.
but it is
yeah.
a guide.
It is a good guide. Yeah.
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 So I specialize in lease option, and then I just
Mm-hmm.
do it on Airbnb. I do short-term rentals.
Nice.
I like it because there's flexibility.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The difference between like lease options and flips and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff is I can use less money to get into a deal,
Mm-hmm.
and I can let the market dictate my ultimate decision.
Okay.
Make sense?
It does. So you're getting how are you getting these lease options, right?
Good
You're
question.
going that's what I think we
Good
need to
question.
know.
So I've created an army of agents,
Mm-hmm.
and because I had studied agents for years, okay,
Yeah.
what makes them tick? How can I keep them from hanging a phone up on me?
Yeah.
'Cause,
Right.
when you
Stop
cold,
wasting my time.
man, listen,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about any other state, but in Florida, where I'm from, we say Florida.
Florida.
Agents here, especially in South Florida, it's the wild, wild west.
Oh, okay.
Because you could call
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, I got a client." Let's say another agent calls another agent. I'm
Yeah.
not an agent, by the way. I got a client. They want to see the property. They want to do open house or walk through, whatever.
Yeah.
By the time they get from their house to that thing, oh, I'm sorry, we got a contract on it.
Oh,
So people are
yeah.
very like quick here,
They're
and
quick.
they're
Yeah.
blunt. So, anyways, I studied agents for years.
Yeah.
What incentivizes them? Because if you're not coming in with strong offers,
Yeah.
which usually mean you ain't got no equity, they're gonna be very passive aggressive.
Yeah.
They're gonna rush you.
Yeah.
What's your offer? What's your offer?
What do you want?
What do you want?
like? Yeah.
Yeah, email me your offer. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah, exactly. I think New York and Florida are very, very similar in
Yes.
that aspect. You can't even get a sentence out. They're
Yes.
like, no, stop wasting my time. The seller's not going to have this. No. Yeah.
Chrissy, I've actually got a theory, and you just made me. I just got an epiphany. I think the influx of New Yorkers that have migrated down here to Florida have caused that type of
I think
thing.
they have. I think it comes from New York.
Yes, even in the driving.
Yeah.
We didn't used to always drive like that.
I think Florida is just a hotter version of New York, to
Yes.
be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
people, when I went to New York, people were like, obviously rude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But then I realized, okay, the price of living so high, they don't got time.
Yeah, they don't got time. Right. Everything like time is money. Let's go.
Right. But down here, it's
Yeah.
the same thing now.
Yeah. It's pretty fast paced down here. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's hotter, though.
But it's
you know,
hotter.
when you
I'll
hot,
take that.
You get angry.
You get angry. Exactly. That's what causes it.
So, yeah, going back to the question of how
Mhm.
I created an army of agents
Uh-huh.
and basically just went to them and said, hey, out of every single listing that you have throughout the year, how many actually sell for the price that your seller wants?
Mm-hmm.
I was getting like maybe 60%.
60%.
Yeah.
Okay.
From my circle of agents. Because
Wow.
I used to do things like throw little parties for them,
Right.
go to the brokerage and buy everybody donuts.
Yeah,
do
right. Give them a little something.
presentation.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I said, okay, well, what happens to the other ones? Do they become expired? Do they get
Mhm.
withdrawn? They said all of the above.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I realized a lot of them were frustrated because of the sellers,
Yeah.
but they can't blame the sellers publicly because it just doesn't look
Right.
professional.
Right. You can't because it's your customer. You can't say, "Oh, you're wrong."
Right.
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 Yeah.
So I said, let me turn pretty much your trash leads into treasure. Not to call the seller's trash, but the
Yeah.
lead, it's a lead at that point.
Yeah.
You went out and you did all that work. You went to
Exactly.
the house. You showed them the comps.
Yeah.
You told them the time frame it was selling, days
Did
on
all
market,
that.
all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you told them the price they should sell it for,
Yeah.
and they wanted what they wanted.
Exactly.
So do you take the listing or do you just let it go? Most people just took it.
That's a good question. That's a good
So
question.
I basically I had this magic question in my script. I said, hey,
Mm-hmm.
how long is your seller giving themselves to sell this property before they do anything else like lease it? Which I
Yeah.
don't want them to do.
Right.
And I just shut up. 'Cause, when you keep talking,
Yeah, yeah.
know,
You gotta let them talk
right.
and think. Yeah, yeah.
They're like, oh, I haven't thought about that, but they probably might lease it. That's what I
Mhm.
wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, since they want to sell it now,
Yeah.
and they probably may lease it later if they don't sell it,
Yeah.
if I could guarantee your commission, would
Right.
they be open to something creative?
Mm.
I haven't thought about that. So, anyways,
Of course you did.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
so they'll try, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'll sell it. Most of the time they wouldn't because the market was shifting at that time
Right,
too.
right.
And then I would come in with a lease with the option to purchase. I
Mhm.
would keep their purchase price the same.
Right.
I would make sure my down payment was comfortable,
Okay.
very comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but also had the seller's agent commission in it, as well
Right.
as closing costs.
So you have the agent's commission inside of the down payment amount?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And is the agent getting a portion for that upfront? Because I feel like a lot of agents,
Yeah.
right? They want to know first, how am I getting paid?
Of
Right?
course. That's
So,
why my main lines was, if I could guarantee your commission,
yeah.
pay your seller's asking price,
Mm-hmm.
and take care of the closing costs, is your seller open to something creative? And I shut
Yeah.
up.
Mm.
And at that point, it's on them.
Right.
Like,
It's
y'all
on
tell
them
me
to
how y'all want to
present it.
move. Right.
Right.
And they'll say, most of them be like, oh, my seller would never consider that. Never consider that. No,
No.
they want top dollar right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep this on my watch list. And
Yeah.
I'm going to circle back around in about 30 days. Is that fair? Sure,
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, it's on my watch list. I put a calendar there. I put a timer there.
Right. Set a
and then-
reminder, follow up.
Right.
Mm.
And I would come in and I would make my lease with the option to purchase. I would do it
Right.
maybe 30% below market rate rent
Yeah.
or lower.
Okay. Okay.
And I would keep the purchase price 10% below ARV, Sometimes
Okay.
at ARV if they're a stickler for
Right.
price.
Right.
And then I would do like 5 years. If they
Mhm.
didn't like 5, I would counter at 3. If they didn't
Right.
like 3, the lowest I'm going is 18 months.
Yeah. Right. Because this is gonna be a little too tight for you to
Yeah.
decide. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And basically, so now with agents, they have a link. I send them a link.
Mhm.
And in that link, it asks for property data,
Okay.
bedroom, bathroom, reason for selling, timeline to sell,
Yeah.
desired commission if I covered both. These
Okay.
little different things.
Right.
And they just fill it up, and I just look at my CRM, just fill up all month long.
Wow. So if they have like a listing that's sitting on the market, let's say it's been 60 days, now they can say, okay, let me put this onto your link and see if this will be a deal for you. Is that kind of how that works?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because they have to deliver bad news to the seller if they don't do that. Because, okay, if you don't sell the house, you got to come, you came out with a big chest. Yeah, I'm going to get it sold in 3 months. I'm going to get a top dollar, over asking, waive contingencies. They talking all that big boy talk.
Exactly.
So the seller's like, yeah.
Exactly. So any offer is better than no offer.
Right.
Okay.
And then so by having me and my company in their back pocket,
Yeah.
they always know that, okay, you know what? If it doesn't sell, I can call RJ. RJ
Right.
gonna put a deal
It's
together.
my last
for me.
resort,
Right.
and he's gonna save the day.
Right. Yes.
Right.
And so that's how I actually started for the leads to start coming in.
Nice.
Just giving a presentation, showing them the value, showing them past deals,
Yeah.
and then giving them their own personalized link.
Right.
And that's it.
I actually really like that method because I think a lot of people have different ways for the acquisitions, right? Some people are like, call 50 people a day, send out this, and do all this stuff. And it's like, you know what? I have like a similar thing with you, right?
Okay.
You spend some time, go to an event, get in front of people, and then later on you get people that call you like, hey, I have this deal. You might be interested because they know what you're looking for, they know your criteria, right? So it seems like you're doing that instead of spending time every day looking for deals. You just, spend some time getting in front of people, network with people, and then they just kind of come to you.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Inbound. But I started that way you're talking about. I was with a friend of mine. He actually started me off like with the bulldog sources of like cold calling.
Yeah.
His name is Barry Nozier. Shout out to Kaizen Capital, Barry and Brandon.
Barry and Brandon. Okay.
Yes.
Shout out to Barry and Brandon.
So this guy is half man, half machine.
Oh man.
Just like me.
Oh.
And we used to hammer out calls like 800 calls a day on a dialer.
Really?
8 hours a day.
Oh.
And people cussing us out.
Oh God.
One guy told me to jump in the lake head first. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
I mean, cold calling will humble you.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how cocky you think you are.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you got.
Yeah.
If you cannot be seen with all your money, not you, but anybody, right?
Anyone.
If you can't be seen with all your beauty or handsomeness or whatever you think you got,
right?
Get on the phone and call random strangers.
Yeah.
And ask them for their time.
Exactly.
And you will know exactly what type of skills you need to better.
Exactly.
In social skills.
That part.
So,
yes, yes. It'll test you, right? How much you can take from that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So the emotional toll it took on me the first month was crazy.
Yeah.
But after that, you become callous to it.
Yeah.
And once you get your first deal, it's like, man, I'm
this
glad
is good. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going.
But I started that way.
But you started that way. So would you say, because I have a lot of people, right, that still do calls. I started cold calling, then I quickly realized I did not like it. And I outsourced it, right? I outsourced it to a second party to do that. Well, third party. And I liked it better that way. And I just do the follow-up calls from there.
Right.
But I just hated, whenever he got a warm lead, I really hated the fact like that they treated him that way. I would hear call, what do you want? Are you gonna give me $1 million, this, that? And he was such a nice guy, and I just hated that, they talked to him like that. So, and I can understand, right? Because when people call me, I'm like, stop calling my phone. Like when people calling me in the same way.
I'm not like that, but
I'm not that mean.
I get it though.
But if you get people that call you, I'm like, stop calling me, so, but I really don't like cold calling anymore, and I don't even use that at all as my method because of that simple fact that it's emotionally stressful.
Yeah.
I think for both sides, right? You're calling people that have difficult situations and they're stressed, and then people could take it out on you, and now you're stressed taking it. So I just eliminated cold calling overall, and just similar to you, like attracting more leads than reaching out. So
right, yes. I actually now, so I still do it now.
Yeah.
But I do it to keep my edge.
Yeah.
Because I realized that negotiation is one of the most powerful things in life, especially in sales if you're going to be professional.
Yeah.
And there's no more pressure than being on a phone with a seller.
Yeah.
That has told you the whole story about the house and is stuck on their price. And you know to make the deal work, you got to get them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that skill is a good skill. And the only way to master it is to kind of just,
practice. And do it. Yeah.
So, I mean, personally, I still do it.
Yeah.
I don't do it as much.
Right.
Because I have other ways to drive leads.
Yeah.
But I still do it. But
That's
I mean, if you got something that works.
Yeah, right. I was like, I don't like the cold calling.
What is working for you?
So what's working for me is Facebook. I do a lot of Facebook generation. I actually use Investor Lift a lot now.
Okay.
I love the platform, the deals that come through there. Some of them are like good, some of them are, they're there. But I've gotten some good deals on Investor Lift, which I really enjoy. And then, it's kind of just like that thing where like, okay, everyone serves a purpose. So, okay, the wholesaler, you get paid for finding the deal and I'll do this. I didn't have to do the cold calling. I had to trust my cold caller out, all that stuff. So I like that. Another one is just like from my network, right? I go to tons of networking events. I host 2 events a month of my own. So I get a lot of people, they know exactly what I do, my markets and everything. So when things come, they're like, hey, I have this, can I take a look, whatever. So that's also another way that I'm, getting leads. So yeah, I'm just at the point where I'm like, I don't think I need to do cold calling. I'd rather focus on social media and do more lead attraction where you have someone like, oh, are you in need of help with this? Or, are you looking to sell your home? Because I found like most people are on Facebook like more than anything else, right? True. Or they're on social media all the time. So I want to be in front of people all the time. I want you to think about me if you want to sell your house, right? So instead of me calling you and harassing you, I'd rather you just see me every day. And then that one day where you're ready, you call me.
Smart.
And I'm not like that annoying person because now you need me.
Right.
So that's kind of what I like. It's just more attraction then.
I like that.
Yeah.
See, you got your strategy and it works for you.
Yeah, it works for me. And that's also what I had to learn was like, what works for that person is not going to work for me.
Right.
And I think a lot of people like, fall into that like, damn, I got to make 50 calls to be productive. Like, no, you don't have to if that's not what works for you. And it took a lot for me because I'm like, I feel like I'm not going to be productive enough if I don't do this. But I had to sit down myself. I'm like, I don't like this. Like, this is not going to work for me. And the more I try to force myself to do it, I'm going to miss opportunities like these things,
That's
like
true.
Investor Lift, like networking events that I'll actually get more, actual results from. So
that's true. Smart.
Yeah.
You found the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Me personally, I had to get to that point. And it took a while and a lot of bumps and lumps in the market for me to get there.
Yeah.
Because, when I was calling some of those sellers, you don't know what mood they're going to be in.
Oh, yeah, no. You don't know what day you're going to get them.
And it humbles you also because you realize that they just people at the end of the day.
Yes.
I had this one lady, I called her, in the morning time. She told me to call her at the evening. Called her in the evening.
Yeah.
She told me to call her the next day.
Yeah.
And then eventually she started to get irritated, so I stopped calling her.
Yeah.
Someone else called her that same week that I stopped calling her and got the deal. Made me feel like crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kept calling people. And I'm telling you, this other guy, so I called him. And he kept on like, having a conversation, but not wanting to cross the finish line with me.
Yeah.
He was interested in selling.
Yeah.
But he wasn't interested in moving forward.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Like I want to do it, but I'm not ready yet. Yeah.
So then I started to try to like use different. Well, are you ready to do any business today?
Yeah. Like how you feeling now?
Yeah. Right. And so he started to get a little bit more rude as time went on because I think that it's something that people sometimes when they need a punching bag sometimes, and you're just there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they know you or not.
You're it.
You come in and punch your bag. Right?
You're it today. Yeah, yeah.
So he kept on telling me to call him. And then when I called him, as soon as we got around to the numbers part, the man kept hanging up in my face.
Oh, God.
So one time he hung up in my face. And I'm like, man, listen.
You're not going to do this
Sir,
to me
we seem
today.
to have been disconnected. I apologize.
Yeah.
What was that number again?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what, man? I like you.
Really?
I'm going to do business with you. Let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. I'm gonna come up with what works because I heard what you said. You got to get in and do the repairs.
Right.
You got to go in and pull a permit and get your crew and insurance and all the specialty people.
Yeah.
And eventually we end up doing a deal.
Wow.
I made $15,000 on that one from an assignment.
Wow.
But I just remember I was talking to him for like maybe 8 months.
Wow. The persistence is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
But if I would have did it your way,
Right.
I would have saved much more time
Mm-hmm.
because someone else could have did what I was doing.
Exactly. But I totally get it too. Because sometimes you need that, right? You need that seller that you have to consistently follow up on. I have this one seller where he's got some land in Georgia that I
Okay.
need.
Mm,
And
not want.
I need it. I need it.
then.
And we've been connected for 2 years.
Okay.
And I text him every month. Sometimes he responds, sometimes he doesn't.
Okay.
Well, I had him super close one time where he's like, all right, send me the proposal. I sent him a proposal that night, a 5-page proposal. I typed it up, everything. Didn't respond to me. So I had him there. But I know eventually we're going to get to that point. And I don't even want to just, hey, let me buy your land. I'm like, let's partner. Like, you don't have to. This is your family land. Let's make it something, So I know we both need it. So that's that same concept, like being persistent, right? It's gonna take a long time, but eventually I know we're gonna get something happen. So I still have like some of those where those came from cold calling. I'm still following up because I'm like, yeah, we're gonna make something.
Did you guys ever work anything out?
No, we're going to though.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna call him tomorrow.
Nice. This is a reminder.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him tomorrow. Usually like the first of the month is when I like check back in with him. So
Smart. You got a good game plan.
Yeah. I need that.
Yeah, I mean, we got two different things that we do, but we definitely understand each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same concept. Like everything's same concept, right? You still have to follow up, right? If I get a lead through Facebook and they're a hot lead, and they just ghost me, I'm still gonna follow up on that because at some point you were interested, right?
Yes.
So you just have to I think everyone's gonna have that, follow up strategy, whatever CRM they use and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. What CRM are you using?
I'm using Monday.com.
Monday.com. So let's hear about Monday. Okay.
Yeah. I've tried a lot of them.
Yeah.
That to me is the most user friendly. It's the most user friendly right now.
Okay.
And everything integrates with it. And whatever doesn't integrate with it, I just integrate it with Zapier, and Zapier integrated with it.
Does it also have a user portal, like whoever's on the other side of your transaction?
Yes, but I haven't set that up.
Okay.
I've never set that up before.
Okay.
It gives permissions as well.
Okay.
So I actually need to do that.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, because if you have a seller that wants to know the timeline of their home sale, right? Like, how would that work? Like if you have a user side for them to see okay, we're in the inspection period, then we're in the contract period, then they see and they could communicate there.
I just updated them on the phone.
Got it.
But it would be nice so they can see it visually without me having to update them.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for that?
So I'm actually in the works of transferring to Go High Level. And it seems like they actually have a system like that, right? Like it's where you can actually have a portal for them to actually see their progress and be able to track what's going on. Since I'm an agent too, I'll have that's where I'm putting my buyers and sellers in that portal too, so they can see okay, we're in this phase of the process, so they can see actually the transaction. They can put their comments, any questions in there too, because they're gonna have a lot of questions. They're gonna have this, so just having all that information there, so they can have their own portal, will just alleviate some of the stress and kind of just go back and forth.
That's pretty cool. So Go High Level has that back office type of thing?
Yeah. And I like it because it's also a CRM, right? You can also tie your social media, right? You can see, how well your ads are doing, track your leads that are coming into social media, put it right into there. And then once you have the CRM in, then you can create a portal from them for there. So it's like a one-stop shop for everything there. So
I think that it'd be safe to suggest that Monday.com and Go High Level duke it out of who can offer us the highest sponsorship.
Yes. I think so. Let's make it happen. We just shouted you guys out.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we just sold the product.
Hey, man. Hey,
it's safe to say, right?
We're waiting on it.
We're waiting on that one.
Cuts the highest sponsorship check. We're rolling with that one.
Exactly.
Because both of them are good.
They're good.
Now, Monday.com, I got to be honest with y'all. Y'all got it. She said y'all got y'all. Go High Level got the portal.
We got the portal on the back end. We got the portal. So, hey. Yeah. So what are you working on for 2025?
2025. So right now, mastering raising capital in the form of a large line of credit to just buy a lot of equity and do more deals. So, I mean, at the end of the day, with lease options, like I said, I'm buying cash flow.
Yeah.
So if the price is the price and there's no room there, then it is what it is.
Right.
So if I have much more capital, I can spread it across many more properties.
Yeah.
I'd rather take $400K and spread it across 10 properties.
10 houses.
Than to do it in 3 or 4 or something like that.
Right.
So essentially, it's just basically finding that equilibrium between the right amount of capital to raise and the perfect deals. And
Okay.
like I said, the deals have flexibility. With a lease
Mhm.
option,
Mhm.
I don't have to buy the house
Right.
if I don't want to.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I can just walk away because I've already
Exactly.
paid the lease every month as a
Right.
corporate lease.
Right. You've already made some money,
Right.
throughout the cash flow, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So and then also most importantly, bridging the wealth gap between African descended people in the United States
Mhm. Mhm.
and everyone else.
Yeah.
So I realized that everybody's not going to be able to afford that 11 or 7 grand or whatever for that mentorship.
Right. Right.
And there's a big wealth gap here in this country.
Oh, absolutely.
The wealth gap primarily exists because of the information gap.
Mhm.
Now we all have access to information,
Yeah.
but people who come from places that I come from,
Yeah.
and situations that I've seen and grown up with,
Right.
we don't even know certain things exist
Yeah.
to go get the information.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So there's an information gap.
Mhm.
There's a consciousness gap. There's just so much. But
Mhm.
I want the average young
Mhm.
black boy
Mhm.
coming from any inner city or any rural community
Yeah.
where he feel like all he got to do is dribble a basketball or
Right.
run a football. No,
Be a
bro, you could
rapper.
be LeBron in the boardroom.
Right. Right.
You could be
Yeah.
Jordan with the
Right.
properties.
Right.
So I want to just basically show them,
Mhm.
hey, bro, you could do this too. It's just
Exactly.
numbers.
It's numbers. And
Yeah.
I like that you said that too, because I think our culture is more shown like, in order to be rich, you need to be a rapper, basketball player, or drug dealer, right? So it's like, okay, who are the owners of all those things, right? The owner of the basketball team is where the money is, right? The owner of the record label is where the money is.
Right.
And whoever's running those, whatever, I don't know about the drug world, but like
Right,
that's what's shown in our community. So
That's
it's
it.
not the players, it's the owners of
That's
that,
right.
right?
Ownership. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's consciousness.
Yeah.
That's the main focal point, because at the end of the day, I'm a parent,
Mhm.
and when you become a parent, you think about how life can be when you're not here anymore.
Mm.
How do you want it to be for your children's generation
Right.
of peers?
Right.
And they need information, because if we're not careful as black people, and I can't avoid the conversation, even if it's
Right.
controversial, because I'm black.
Because that's who we are. It's not even
Right.
we're trying to. That's just us. Yeah.
Well, I say that because a lot of black people in this industry,
Yeah.
they tend to avoid certain conversations.
Yeah.
Because it makes other people uncomfortable.
Right.
And I understand, depending
Right.
on where you are.
Right.
But it's the elephant in the room.
Right.
But it's just true. So that wealth
Right.
gap that's there,
Right.
if we're not careful and we have children, do you have any children?
No, I don't.
Okay. You plan on having some?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
When you have children, you become a parent.
Yeah.
You got to think about, okay, when my kid turns 24, are they going to be renting or owning?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just that thought.
Just that alone. Right.
Just that question.
Right.
And then if you coming from a bad situation, you say, okay, my kid probably gonna be renting because I made bad choices. Okay, fine.
Right.
Next question is, who will they be renting from?
Who? Exactly.
And
exactly.
how will those type of people treat them?
Mm-hmm.
So if I
Yeah.
don't like that,
Yeah.
that's on me.
Right. You have to fix that.
My
Yeah.
you got to put in, like,
Yes. Yeah.
even on your little level, even if your little level is basically going out in the backyard and doing work.
Right.
That's how you putting in.
Right. Labor, helping
Right.
in the house. Yeah.
When your American friends is playing in the outside and stuff, you in
No,
the
you
garden.
better get your
Yes,
and over
inside,
here and take out that
right.
garbage.
Exactly, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember just the way that my boss at Burger King was just talking crazy to me.
Right.
He's a white guy,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Black guy, I don't care who, Chinese. He was just talking
whoever.
crazy
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But I remember because I had to work, because I had to help the fam.
Right.
Even my little money wasn't none, but it was helping.
It was helping. It was something.
Right. I remember that I had to keep my job because losing my job would be a failure and a disappointment to them.
Yeah.
And I would never want my kid to be in a position where they got to take emotional abuse.
Right.
Just to have a job.
Right. Just to make ends meet because they have to.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided, you know what? I've got to make sure that my child is financially aware. After making them socially aware, you know.
Yeah.
If you can have the finances, but if you're not socially aware, then what are you doing?
Right.
You're gonna lose it.
Right. Exactly.
So that's the decision that when I started, I was like, okay, I got to get more serious about real estate.
Yeah.
More and more serious.
Make more focus. Yeah.
And yeah, so my life mission, one of the components of my life mission, is to bring wealth consciousness to people in the ghetto. You know, people who have. I was raised in the ghetto.
Yeah.
But I would always be getting caught up in like daydreaming. Like I'd be at the bus stop and be like, "Hey, RJ."
Yeah.
I had those That's So Raven moments.
Right.
And what I was doing, I didn't realize until I became an adult. I was visualizing my future.
Right.
So even if I'm raised around like a warehouse or industrial area,
right,
I'm thinking about like green grass and palm trees.
Right. You kind of already you're picturing your life, and
And I was like, okay, so there's got to be a kid in every city that's like me today.
Right.
And he just need a chance.
Right. He just needs someone to show him that there's a better way.
Right.
Or that there's introduce him to this concept or whatever it is, right? Like you said, just being aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, you know, because I didn't have any mentors at that time, but for me, my resilience in my thought process was what got me out, my daydream. So I'm glad you asked me that because, I want to bridge that gap. People talk about it. People talk about bridging the gap.
Right. But but you got to do it.
Right.
So how are you actually action steps to actually bridge that gap?
Talking to people who have kids. So I'm talking to my friends' kids, right? Like they got like 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
Okay, right.
And I be, hey man, what you finna do with your life, man?
right. Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Shy.
Yeah.
And I started getting to what they want to do. Right. And I started to kind of play like big brother to them, like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. You like gaming.
Yeah.
Won't you learn how to create the game?
Yeah. Like learn coding or this. Yeah.
So just to keep it like all the way transparent.
Right. When
you grow up in areas where it's a lot of drug activity.
Yeah.
And then you see people go away as teenagers and come back as full grown men.
Yeah, that's sad. Yep.
I recently had a brother come home and I told him, look, bro, I'm gonna buy you a lawnmower. I know you used to getting real big money because you used to be the man before you went in.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna buy you a lawnmower because you say you want to do landscaping.
Right.
If you come back in a year and you still doing landscaping, bro, I'm gonna help you open up landscaping business.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Wow.
He was going around cutting people grass and stuff like that.
That's amazing.
So,
just being more involved in your community.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, being more involved. And with real estate, speaking the language that they understand. Yeah. Like the same amount of money you can do, moving something. Right. You could actually move
do it
something.
Legally. You can move it legally.
Right.
Yes.
If you can move bricks, you can make bricks.
Right. It's the same process. And that's why I say it. I'm like, like a lot of like criminals, right? They're so smart. I'm like, if you just use that same way that you figure out like hack, crack, whatever you do, and to like actual legal thing, you'd be so much further along. Right. So I guess like you being more involved in the community. What was the father's name from Boys in the Hood? And he was trying to tell them like that, right? Like being actually active, like, hey, there's a better way. You don't have to be like this. You could do this, right? So just being more involved in your community.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Not even just my community, because community is based on like I guess geographical. Right. Just anyone who that looks like us. Right. I already know that. Honestly, my first few real estate experiences, there's a lot of extreme racism there. When I went to go to pick up the check at the title company, I was put in handcuffs. Oh my God. They thought I was picking up somebody else's check. This is the truth.
That's crazy.
This is the truth.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's because I had the nerve to believe that I could walk in there with regular clothes on and not a suit.
Right. Yeah. You thought like, oh, I'm okay here, but like, who's this?
So essentially, when I talk to people like us, a lot of us, we don't think we are qualified
Mm-hmm. Right.
because we think we got to go get these big licenses.
Right.
I don't have a real estate license, but I do real estate 90% of the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I figured out that the glitch in the matrix was just learning the language and talking with an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right. And being confident.
Yes.
I think that's another thing is like we some of us might lack the confidence because like, okay, we're not supposed to be in this game. It's not meant for us. It's not meant for them, you know? And I think it's like, no, it's this, we live in a world where we can do anything we want.
Yes.
Like we just have to like untap out of that, whatever our mental mind block and stop thinking that we're still trapped. We're not. We could do whatever we want.
Yes.
You know, so.
Were you always that confident?
I would say like I had an interesting upbringing. I was raised by my father.
Okay.
Single black man.
That's good.
There wasn't any like one that like looked like us when we were growing up.
Okay.
But I didn't have it was nice. It was a different perspective.
Okay.
So, you know, I was always kind of like, you know, to just take the lead, right? I had to be, you know, the cheerleading captain. I had to be, no, like I just wanted to. Like I didn't really have this issue where like, oh, they're going to say something because I was already different my whole life. So what's the difference if I'm like going out there as I was already different, right? Like I no one else had curly hair or this, that. So it's like, I'm already like kind of not standing out in a way, but like I'm already standing out like a sore thumb. So I might as well just do it. So I think that's kind of helped me be comfortable because I was already in uncomfortable situations growing up. So it wasn't like a situation where if everyone looks like me, now it's weird standing out because now I'm like, this is different, right? And then also when I was 18, I started working. I didn't go to college. I went for 1 semester, completely failed. Okay. And was like, I need to just go to work. So once my dad's like, yeah, go get a job. So I went and got a job and I just worked with all men. My youngest coworker was like 20 years older than me. So
20 years older than you?
Yeah, that was like the youngest coworker. It was like 20 years older. So I was already in like these different situations where I had to like grow up fast. I had to be like, okay, I'm in this like different situation. I had to be confident in what I knew. I had to learn my work and everything. So that also kind of helped building confidence is just being in situations and learning things where you don't have anything about and being around people that will challenge you, teach you, educate you along the way. So
wow. So you kind of always had it.
I guess so. Not that I always had it, but I've been in environments all my life that's helped me just kind of like grow that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did you realize that you had confidence? What age?
I don't know. I think it's still like a work in progress. I think like we all have confidence.
Well, you seem very confident to me.
I don't know. I guess so. I think confidence is a thing, but I think it's just more so like just not caring what people think or say.
Right.
I think that comes with a lot of confidence. Is just like if someone's like, you know, fear of judgment, because like what is the opposite of confidence, right? Like
insecurity.
Right. Exactly. So if you kind of just like get over that, then you're like I don't care. Like it is what it is. Like you're gonna be judged regardless. You're not gonna be the smartest person. You're not gonna be the dumbest person. So it's like just do you. Like you know. Yeah. Yeah.
So okay. So college, right? Mm-hmm. When did you snap out of it?
When did I snap out of it? Okay, so here's my college journey.
Okay.
I went to community college.
Okay.
All my friends went away to school. I went to like a community college nearby, and I went for electrical engineering. I went to a couple of the classes, and I was like, I don't know what any of these symbols mean, so I'm out.
Oh, okay, right.
So
you quickly realized it wasn't your thing.
I quickly realized I'm like, this is not it. So I was still working at Wendy's. And they loved me at Wendy's. I learned every single position. I thought I was like the shit. I was like, I'm gonna learn sandwiches, cashier, drive through this. So I knew every position. So they needed me because, you know, if someone calls out, I can fill any role. So I was just working crazy hours at Wendy's and they're like, we need you to be the manager. So I'm like, yo, I gotta be the manager at Wendy's. Forget school.
How old were you?
I was 17 going on 18.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were like, we need you to be manager. So I'm like, I can't tell my dad I'm dropping out of school, but I'm going to be manager at Wendy's. Like, that's bigger than this.
Like,
in my mind. In my mind.
Was
I was
it
like,
the title?
I don't know if it was a title, but like, I guess they said like the leadership, like I like always just like the leadership role. So I'm like, I got to do this. Like I hired my friends. I'm like, you know, I got to be there. Right. I guess it's just like, you know what I think it is? I think it's more so like the provider. Like one of my things is like, I like acts of service, right? So I'd rather be the person where like they can count on me rather than like me count on someone else.
I'm the same way.
I think it's a Caribbean thing. Also something I learned from my dad. Like my dad is just a provider. He's our sole provider our whole lives. So like just like being raised in that upbringing, like he's always a leader. So it's like I kind of just follow his lead. So I won't like I really have a hard time taking the back seat. I have a hard time people telling me what to do. So when they said be the manager, I'm like, cool, because I was already doing it. So I'm like, I might as well
so
do
you took
it.
your own initiative.
Yeah, exactly. So I figured, I was like, I'm not going to school because that's whack. I'm gonna go do college.
Right.
So once I failed all the classes because I didn't go, my dad's like, no, you need to get a real job. So I started working as a utility company, being a mechanic, and that's like what started my.
Wait. You can't just breeze over that.
Can't breeze over.
Wait, hold up.
How long is this interview? Because even Zach is gonna be like,
How we looking, Z?
Okay. All right, okay.
You used to be a what doing what now?
Yeah. So I got a real job, right? It was called get a real job.
Okay.
I guess a real job is one that pays well. So I was an electrical mechanic for a utility company in New York. And that's kind of like now how I started like career, right? So now I'm working there.
Wait, hold on. You wore a hard hat?
Hard hat, safety boots every day for 7 years.
And you did what on a daily basis?
Anything. We did maintenance on equipment. We did installations.
You used to climb telephone poles?
No, we didn't have to climb poles. We used man lifts.
You'd be lifted up in the air?
Yeah, I'm man lift certified, forklift certified, asbestos certified. Yeah.
Something new every day.
Things. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, but it teaches you a lot, right? So I'm glad I had that experience because now I learned a trade. I learned how to work with my hands. I learned how to actually fix things, right? So that's also what helped me with real estate. It's like actually learning how to do things. So when I first started, now I can do my own rehabs. It's not exactly the same, but once you actually know how to work, use drills, tools, you could apply it to anything.
That's true.
So I was so glad I learned that. So I did that for 4 years before moving to a different position. And then that's when I went back to school. So I was like, let me get my degree, and I got it through the company. So I was able to go back, do an accelerated program, and get my bachelor's, and get it through there. So that's how I was able to actually get a degree, even though now I don't really need it, but it was still good to have because you never know. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my my work background.
Electrical engineer and utility. What was it?
Utility company. Yeah. Whew. Yeah.
I would have never. You get that a lot.
No one, no one ever thinks because a lot of my coworkers that will always see me, they only ever see me in hard hat, safety boots, that. So when they see me in regular clothes, like, what the hell? What's going on?
Oh,
but then people that see me in the real estate, they were like, you do what? That's most of my upbringing is actually working. Like that's where actually like most of my experiences from is like hands-on work. So
that's good to know. Okay, that's cool. So you asked me what's my 2025 goals.
Yeah.
I have to return the question back to you.
Okay.
What are your 2025 goals?
All right. So my first goal for 2025 is to complete the development that I have in Georgia, which is like affordable housing development there. So I'm looking to consolidate my portfolio to have one location for my rentals that will be good for senior living, people that like actually need help, seniors, single moms, people getting their, trying to build their lives, military professionals. So I'm looking to actually be more purposeful with my investments. And then hand in hand with that, I'm also building my school community, which is Real Estate Done Right. Nice. And it's really just about like being more purposeful. Okay. So that's why I'm really talking about what I'm doing in Georgia, because it's something that means a lot to me. And it's not just saying like, oh, okay, I'm, building more units and this. It's like, now I want to help people and I want to build a community and I want to actually build an affordable housing place, right? Because when you hear affordable housing, you think like projects, it's bad there, it's this, right? Most of the time people think about that. So I want to establish that where it's like, no, we're building a community. We're going to have community events. Right. We're going to be partnering with people to like actually, help bridge that gap, like you said. So that's something I'm really passionate about. And I'm like really tying that into my school community to help other people find their passion. Because I think a lot of people start real estate and they're like, okay, they're just trying to figure out whatever they want to do. They're kind of lost in the sauce. Yeah. They hear what this guy's doing, like, all right, I'm going to do that, because they hear dollar signs and that. Right. But, if it's not aligned with your goals and your values, then what is it, what does it mean? Yeah. So, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just want to focus more on alignment and values and purpose. And that's what I'm trying to help people who are either new in real estate or who's been doing it for a while, that wants to say like, hey, like, I want to find out what I'm doing. And I want to narrow down my focus. Like, okay, I'm only doing this in Georgia, or I'm only doing retail in this. Like, whatever it is, let's focus on that and figure out why you're doing it. So I'm really just trying to build an authentic community. Okay. Which is like, it's okay to be where you're at. You don't have to pretend you're like this big person, like, oh, I'm doing all this. it's totally fine to be where you are. And like, let's help each other get there. Let's have this network. Let's like normalize just doing things because we like it and not just because of the money. So I'm really just trying to put out that message, like, you know, turning our passion into profits. And yeah, that's pretty much what my two main focuses are this year.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so real estate done right.
Yes, school
Nice.
community. Yep.
Nice. Okay,
Yes.
so could you elaborate a little bit more about what inspired you to come up with that school?
I think what inspired me was I sat down and I did my Vivid Vision. I listened to a Vivid Vision book, and it really helped me kind of like bring clarity on what my vision is, because I was doing a lot. Like, okay, I'm doing creative deals here, this, that. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm doing a lot of like nothing. Yeah, I'm making money, which is great, but I'm like, I'm not really doing much, right?
Okay.
And then where I really feel fulfilled is where I'm like really helping people, making an impact. Like, when I have like, you know, I communicate with my tenants directly. I manage my own properties, which a lot of people are very against. But what I like about it is like, some of my have Section 8. And when I have a single mother move into a house and it's like, I have a house on the lake, it's a beautiful house and she's on Section 8, you would never know. And she's like crying to me. She's like, you know, I'm so happy we're here. They're going to be in a better school district.
Right.
My son plays basketball. Like now we have a lake in our backyard. And they're on Section 8.
Right.
They have a lake in their backyard, you know, and they're like, they're so happy. So I'm like, this is what like fuels my soul. Like this is more purposeful than me being a part of something where we're just making quick money and it doesn't mean anything. So that's like what really hit home for me was just like, you know, providing that value and that quality to housing. And then also helping other people be a part of that. Because I realize the more I tell people what I'm doing, they're like, oh, I actually want to do that too.
Right.
Like I want to make an impact. I want to help single moms. I want to help, you know, this community. I want to help that. So I'm like, so let's do that. Like, let's be more me. Like the money's going to come. Like, let's stop chasing money. Like it's going to come.
Chase value.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. Okay, so you got inspired by your own life purpose.
Yes.
And destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
That's dope. Okay.
So yeah, so definitely tune in, guys.
Yes, real estate done right.
Yes, yeah. All right. So, well, where can they find more about you?
Well, I'm a private man these days.
Okay. All right. He's private. You can't find him.
You can find me. My Instagram handle, which I'm very rarely on, is RJ Santana 1.
Okay.
I'm a very private man. If you know me, you know I'm just.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the limelight. I don't like to
chill. Right.
And yourself?
I'm Chrissy the Realtor. That's KRISSY, the Realtor, on Instagram, Facebook, everything. And then my school community is Real Estate Done Right.